Hi students, welcome back. We are in Unit 1, The Living World, in which we are in Chapter 3, The Plant Kingdom, and we are in the Part 4 video. In the Part 4 video, we are going to see about gymnosperms. In Part 1, 2 and 3 video, we have seen about Thallophyta, algae, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, and now we are moving on to gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are the flowering plants. It belongs to the division Phanerogams. Gymnosperms and angiosperms belongs to the division Phanerogams, in which gymnosperms are naked seeded plants. We will see the characteristics of gymnosperms. Coming to the characteristics of gymnosperms, the term gymnosperm was introduced by Theophrastus. The term gymnosperm was given by Theophrastus, in which gymnos means naked and sperma means seed. So it is the naked seeded plant. In this plant, the seeds are exposed. Hence it is called as naked seeded. These plants represent the most ancient group of seed plants. So they belong to the most ancient group. Gymnosperms are called fruitless phanerogams or flowering plants without ovary. Robert Brown in 1827 separated them from angiosperms and placed under a distinct group due to presence of unprotected ovules in them. These plants doesn't lack seed coat. So they have seed coat, but they are called as naked seeded because their seeds are not covered by fruits. Okay, so they are non-flowering seed producing plants. They don't produce any flowers. They produce ovules which is fertilized and produce seeds. And these seeds are not covered by fruits as in the case of angiosperms. They are naked. So they are called as naked seeded plants. They have ovules but not ovary. Ovary only develops into fruits. Ovules develops into seed. The gymnosperms originated much earlier than angiosperms. However, most of the members of this group have now become extinct and only few living forms are known today. So, most of the gymnosperms are extinct and only few are known today. Coming to the classification of gymnosperms, the first class is Cycadophyta, and orders which belong to Cycadophyta are Cyclophilicates, Cycadodiales, Cycadales. And class 2 it is Coniferophyta, each contains the orders Chordactyles, Ginkgoales, Coniferales and Nettales. This is the classification of gymnosperms given by Chamberlain system in 1934. Coming to the distribution of gymnosperms, these are all the cupresses and the leaf of cupresses. Plants of gymnosperms occur throughout the world. The group is presently represented by only 900 living species. Of these, about 500 species belong to conifers or cone-bearing plants. They are called as conifers because they produce cones. So they are called as conifers. Several species of conifer occurs in Northwest America and Eastern and Central China. In India, several members are found in Himalayas. Podocarpus and cupresses in the central and Larix, Suga, cephalotaxis in the eastern part of Himalayas. So this is the picture of cupresses we have seen in Himalayas. This is a picture of cupresses and this is the leaves of cupresses. And this is world's tallest gymnospermous tree, which is Sequoia sempervirens, which is 368.5 feet tall, and largest gymnospermous tree is Sequoia dendron, which is 13 to 16 meters in diameter. And this is the oldest gymnospermous tree in age, which is Pinus longevia. The name itself says longevia. So it is living for more than 4,900 years. And this is the smallest gymnosperms. It is Zamia pygma. See how small it is. So this is the smallest gymnospermous tree, which is Zamia pygma. Habitat of gymnosperms. Living gymnosperms are mostly perennials, xerophytic, evergreen, arboreal and woody plants. So these gymnosperms are perennials. They can reproduce throughout their lifespan, and xerophytic, they live in extreme conditions, that is dry conditions. They are evergreen because their leaves are modified in such a way that they never lose water. They lose water in a minimum quantity, so they are evergreen in nature. Arboreal, they are above the ground and they are woody plants. They grow as woody trees, bushy shrubs or rarely as climbers, as in the case of nettles. Occupy large areas of earth's surface. They occupy a large area of earth's surface. They can grow in drier conditions. As they are xerophytic, they can grow in drier conditions. They can adapt to the extreme dry conditions. Nettophytes grow at high altitudes. They are seen in mountains in high altitudes. Cycads are concentrated in equatorial regions. So cycads are seen in equatorial regions. Leaves are covered with heavy waxy cuticle. This heavy waxy cuticle minimizes the transpiration. Pores, that is stomata, are sunken below the leaf surface to decrease the rate of evaporation. As they are xerophytic, this is a sunken stomata as an adaptation for them. None of them are herbs or animals. So they are not animals. They live for a longer life. They are not animals. Coming to the external features of gymnosperms. This is the roots of cycas and pinus. The plant body is sporophyte and differentiated into root, stem and leaves. These are higher plants. So they have a well differentiated vegetative structures. That are root, stem and leaves, and the plant body is sporophyte in nature and which is diploid. Okay. The plant possesses well developed taproot system. In some cases, the roots are symbiotically associated with algae. Example, coralloid roots of cycas, or with fungi. Example, mycorrhizal roots of pinus. See here in cycas, the roots are coralloid in nature. Coralloid is a symbiotic relationship with the cyanobacteria. The cyanobacteria helps in the fixation of nitrogen and helps the plant to absorb nutrients. So this coralloid root is the result of taproot system of cycas, which is living symbiotically with the cyanobacteria. Here in pinus, the symbiotic association is with fungi and it is mycorrhizal. So we all know what is mycorrhiza. It is a symbiotic relationship of fungi with the roots of higher plants, and this fungi helps in the fixation of nitrogen and helps to absorb nutrition. The stem is erect, aerial, solid, woody and branched. Unbranched in case of cycadales, but almost tuberous in Zamia. So in cycas, the stem is unbranched, whereas in pinus it is branched. So they have a long shoot and a dwarf shoot. This long shoot has a terminal bud which makes the plant to grow with the unlimited growth. Whereas in the dwarf shoot, which is branched shoot, this shoot doesn't have a terminal bud and they doesn't go longer. So these leaves are arranged spirally over this shoots. So this is the anatomy of pine leaf. Here we can see the cuticle. It is the outer covering and it's the epidermis, hypodermis and the mesophyll. Here it is the stoma, which is the sunken stomata. It's a transfusion tissue here. The vascular bundle, xylem and phloem is there. And it is the endodermis, which is the inside layer. And all these pine trees and the gymnosperms have resin canal. They produce resin. The leaves may be microphyllous or megaphyllous. So microphyllous is the male gametophyte and megaphyllous is a female gametophyte. Here, as they are non-flowering plants, The leaves itself act as the sex organ. Okay, so they have three types of leaves, which is a green leaf, which is foliage leaf, and they have a scale leaf, which is dry and brown in color, scale leaf, which is used for protection, and they have another leafy structure that is called as sporophyll, um, that is megasporophyll and microsporophyll, and they are male and female sex organ respectively. In gymnosperms, xylem is generally made up of tracheids, but vessels have been observed in Needham, Ephedra, and Welwitschia. The primitive haplocalyx type of stomata are found in Cycas, Pinus, Ginkgo, Ephedra, etc. So the haplocalyx stomata is nothing but the guard cells are originated from a single mother cell, whereas the subsidiary cell which surrounds the guard cells is originated from a different initial. Dwarfism is seen in many gymnosperms, perhaps due to wind velocity. Example, Pyxia engelmannii. This is picture of Pyxia engelmannii. This gymnosperm is dwarf in nature because of the wind velocity. The environmental factor affects its growth, and it grows up to 15 centimeters. Coming to the gymnospermous wood, there are two types of woods, that is monoxylic wood and pycnoxylic wood. We will see what is the difference. In monoxylic wood, the wood formed may be in one ring due to persistent cambium. Such a wood is called as monoxylic. Example is pinus. It has only one ring because of the persistent cambium. Whereas in pycnoxylic wood, the wood is formed in more than one ring due to the ephemeral nature of cambium. Such a wood is called as polyxylic. Cambial activity is short-lived. Cortex and pith are broad. Parenchymatous rays are broad. Wood is soft and commercially useless. Example is cycas. So the cambial activity is short-lived. So the secondary growth is short-lived. So the wood are not strong enough. They are very soft, and because of their softness, they are commercially useless. Cambial activity is long-lived. Cortex and pith are reduced. Parenchymatous rays are few. Wood is hard and compact. Wood is commercially most important and used as good quality timber. Example is pinus. So this pycnoxylic wood is formed in the secondary growth of pinus, and the monoxylic wood is seen in the primary growth of pinus. So in the cambial activity is long lived in case of pinus. So the secondary growth is there, and so many rings, pith and cortex are formed, and the parenchymatous rays are few, and the wood is hard and compact because of the secondary growth. Because as it is hard, the wood is commercially most important, and it serves as a quality timber. Coming to the reproduction in gymnosperms, this is the male cone, male strobili. It is also called as strobili, and this is the female strobili, which is also called as the female cone. And this is the woody cone. The female cone is the woody cone. The male cone is short-lived, whereas the female cone is long-lived. And the male cone is seen at the apex of the tree, apex of the gymnosperm, and the female cone is seen at the axil of the scale leaves. Gymnosperms are heterosporous, that is, produce two different kinds of spores, the male microspores and the female megaspores. As I have already said, each of the terminologies has to be split in order to understand heterosporous. Hetero means different, and sporous is spores. So it produces two different spores, that is microspores and the megaspores. The spores are borne inside the sporangia. The sporangia is the structure which bores the spores. The two types of sporangia are borne on special leaf-like structures called sporophylls. As I said earlier, it is a non-flowering plant, and this sporangia, this spore-bearing structure is produced in a leaf-like structure called sporophylls, and it is male sporophyll is called as microsporophyll, and the female sporophyll is called as megasporophyle. The microsporangia, that is the pollen sacs, are born on microsporophylls, that is stamens, and the megasporangia, that bears ovules, are born on megasporophylls, that is carpels. So the female sex organ is called as a carpel, whereas the male sex organ is called as stamen. Coming to the structure, the sporophylls are usually aggregated in the form of compact structures called cones or strobili. So the sporophylls, the leaves like structure, are arranged compactly to form a cone-like structure called strobili. The cones are generally unisexual, that is the male cones are microsporangiate, which produces the pollen grains, that is pollen cones, and the female cones are megasporangiate, which produces the ovules. They are called as seed cones. So this is the male cone and this is the female cone. The male cones are short-lived, whereas the female cones are long-lived. The female cones remain attached on the plants for several years till the maturity or ripening of the seeds. See, the fertilization of the female cone takes place in 15 months. So, the microsporophyll, which is the male cone, is short-lived, but whereas the megasporophyll is long-lived. As it has to produce seeds, it remains on the tree for a longer period of time till it achieves the ripening. Coming to the life cycle of gymnosperms, this is the life cycle of gymnosperms, in which it starts with the mature sporophyte, which is diploid condition, and this mature sporophyte produces female cone and the male cone, and the female cone and male cone on meiosis produces the ovules and the pollen grains. Okay, so this ovules produces the egg on meiosis, and this spore produces the pollen grains on meiosis, and this egg and the pollen grains are haploid in nature, and this haploid pollen grain and haploid egg fuses to form the diploid zygote. Okay, this diploid zygote then develops into the embryo, and the embryo develops into the seed, and the seed on dispersal produces the diploid sporophyte, and this cycle goes on and on. So it has a predominant sporophytic generation and smaller gametophytic generation. Coming to the pollination in gymnosperms, how it takes place. The microsporangium pollen sac produces numerous light pollen grains. The pollen grains are light weighted. Pollination is anemophilous, that is wind pollination. So pollination takes place by air current, in which the pollen grains are carried over by the wind to the female sex organ, that is Archegonia. The ovules are orthotropous and remain exposed on the megasporophyll. So this ovules are naked. They are exposed to the outer environment to receive the pollen grain. Each ovule is surrounded by integuments. It encloses the nucellus and a female gametophyte formed from the haploid megaspore. So, this microsporangia and megasporangia consist of mother cells. Microsporangia consist of microspore mother cells, which is diploid in nature. This microspore mother cell undergo meiosis to forms the microspore, which is the haploid in nature. They produces 4 microspore. This is called as microspore tetrad. Similar to that, the megasporangia, the female sex organ, that also contains 3 structures. That is the outer coat, which is integument, and the inner one is nucellus. Nucellus provides nourishment, and it contains female gametophyte, which is called as archegonia. This archegonia consists of megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell is diploid in nature. It undergoes meiosis to form megaspore tetrads, that is a megaspore. And out of 4 megaspore tetrads, only 1 megaspore is capable of developing into the egg. Other all megaspore gets degenerated, and only 1 megaspore is there. The female gametophyte contains archegonia. The pollen grains are captured by the pollination drop secreted by the micropyle of the ovule. Micropyle is nothing but the mouth of the female gametophyte, and it secretes the pollination drop. So it is a solution which traps the pollen grain, and upon reaching the micropolar end, the pollen grains germinate into a pollen tube, and the male gametophyte will travel through the pollen tube to reach the egg. When it dries, the grains are sucked in the pollen chamber. The pollen grains now germinate. The pollen grains now germinate the pollen tube. Coming to the fertilization in gymnosperms, how it takes place. Already the pollination has taken place, which is the pre-fertilization process. Now the fertilization is going to take place. Fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes. See, this is the ovule, and the pollen grain has reached the ovule. The micropyle is the mouth of the ovule, and this pollen grain germinate into the pollen tube, and through this pollen tube the sperm nucleus, which is the male gamete, is discharged, and it fuses with the egg nucleus and forms the diploid zygote, and the spore wall, which is the integument, and this is the nucellus inside the archegonium. A pollen tube is formed due to elongation of the tube cell. In Cycas and Ginkgo, the pollen tube is haustorial in nature. The lower end of the tube bursts and releases the male gametes, which fuse with the egg to form the zygote. The lower end of the tube bursts and releases the male gametes, which fuses with the egg to form the zygote. The fertilization occurs by syphinogamy, that is, the male gametes are carried to the archegonia through pollen tube, except in Cycas, where pollen tube functions as haustorium, and fertilization occurs by zoodiogamy. So haustorium is a structure which sucks water and and develops into another structure, and this in Cycas alone the fertilization occurs by zoodiogamy, in which the male gamete swim towards the female gamete as the haustorium sucks the water inside. But in other species it occurs by syphinogamy, in which the male gametes are carried to the archegonia through the pollen tube. The pollen tube get a burst, and the gamete is released in other cases. Whereas in Cycas, haustorium is a special structure which absorbs water and gives rise to some other structure, and the fertilization occurs by zoodiogamy. Zoodio means motile. So the male gametes will swim towards the ovule. Fertilization thus takes place in the absence of external water. So coming to embryogeny, the zygote undergoes a pre-nuclear division in Cycas, followed by wall formation. The zygote, which is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete, after fertilization undergoes several mitotic division to form the embryo, and this embryo consists of suspensor cells and haustorial cells and embryonal cells, and this suspensor cells has the function of pushing the embryo towards the nutritive tissue, and this nutritive tissue is called as the endosperm, and this suspensor cells pushes the embryo towards the nutritive cells for nourishment, and this embryonal cells will get divided into the cotyledon, hypocotyl, and radicle and plumule. We all know that radicles develops into root and the plumule develops into shoots, and this suspensor cells act as a umbilical cord. Okay, the what we have seen in mammals, what is the function of umbilical cord is the same as that of suspensor in the plants. There are no free nuclear divisions in Sequoia and Needham. The embryo is soon differentiated into an upper haustorial middle suspensor and lower embryonal region, and the haustorial cells has the function of sucking up water, and the middle suspensor acts as a supportive tissue, and also it pushes the embryo towards the nutritive zone, and the lower embryonal regions differentiate into the hypocotyl, cotyl and radicle and plumule. In Pinus, on the other hand, the zygote gets differentiated into 4 tiers of 4 cells each, designated as open tier, rosette tier, suspensor tier, and embryonal tier. In case of Pinus, it is differentiated into 4 cases, that is open tier, rosette tier, suspensor tier, and embryonal tier. Cleavage polyembryony is seen in Pinus. The embryonal part shows differentiation of radicle, hypocotyl, cotyledons and plumule. Coming to the formation of seed in gymnosperm, how it takes place. It is a immature female cone which consists of the ovules which gets fertilized by the pollen grains, and after fertilization embryo is formed. This ovules, as I said earlier, it consists of 3 parts, that is the outer integument, middle nucellus and the female gametophyte, that is a megaspore, is present in the middle, which is fertilized by the pollen grains. See, this is the fertilization process, and then the integument, the outer covering of the ovule forms the seed coat, and this nucellus tissue forms the nourishment, which becomes the perisperm or endosperm, and this embryo then develops into the new sporophyte. As a result of fertilization, the ovule develops into a seed. The integument forms the seed coat. The middle stony layer of the integument forms the testa, whereas the inner fleshy layer gives rise to tegmen. So the stony layer is called as testa, and the inner fleshy layer is called as tegmen. This is the outer and inner layer of integument. The nucellus persists as a cap-like perisperm. The nucellus provides nourishment for the embryo formed. In taxus, a fleshy aril is also present at the base as a cup-like structure. So, the aril is nothing but another extra seed coat. It may be hairy or a cup-like structure. The seeds of gymnosperms comprise tissue of 3 generations, namely parent sporophytic, integument and nucellus, gametophytic, that is endosperm, and second sporophytic, which is embryo. The parent sporophytic, integument and nucellus comes from the um, parent ovule. Gametophytic is the endosperm, which is formed, which is triploid in nature, and second sporophytic, which is the embryo, which is formed as a result of fertilization. Coming to the seed dispersal. See, the seed is dispersed from the female cone. This is the structure of female cone, and as I said, it is a non-flowering plant, and this cone, the megasporophyll and the microsporophyll, is a modified structure of leaf, that is sporophyll. So it is acropetal in nature pattern. This leaves are arranged in a acropetal succession. See, it has the oldest oldest leaf, and it is followed by the youngest one. So the seeds matures from periphery to the center. So the fertilized seed will be matured from periphery to the center, and the seed is dispersed when the cone bursts off and the outer layer opens up, and the seed is dispersed in the wind. This is how the seed is dispersed from the outer layer to the inner layer. Coming to living fossils, this is Ginkgo biloba, which is very interesting to study. See how beautiful it is, fluttering in the air. When a group of plants is represented by a single genus or species, while rest of the other representatives of the group have become extinct and fossilized, the long surviving individual is called a living fossil. Example, Ginkgo biloba. In Ginkgoales, only one species is surviving, which is Ginkgo biloba. All the other species which belong to the class Ginkgoales are extinct. So this species is considered as a living fossil because it has the ancient characteristics and it is the only surviving species of that class. However, cycads is also regarded as a living fossil because most of the cycad species are confined to tropical and subtropical regions and the group is becoming endangered. See, the cycads is seen in tropical and subtropical region which is subjected to industrialization and because of that more deforestation takes place. On that, as a result, this cycas species is becoming endangered. Therefore, cycads have been referred as reptiles of plant kingdom or panda of vegetable kingdom. As it is endangered, they are called as reptiles of plant kingdom or panda of vegetable kingdom. Coming to the economic importance of gymnosperms, they are very beautiful, so they are considered as an ornamental plant. This is the picture of cupressus. See how beautiful it is with its beautiful leaves. Some of the gymnosperms are grown in the gardens in different parts of the world. Example is Cycas revoluta, Ginkgo biloba, Araucaria cooki, Araucaria bidwilli, Biota orientalis, cupressus species, Juniperus species, Thuja species, Taxus baccata, Cryptomeria japonica, etc. And this is Cedrus deodara and this is very useful for wood. Several plants of this group yield useful timber. The wood of Cedrus deodara is used for making railway sleepers. It is also used as a structural timber and making bridges. The wood of Calotris verrucosa, Pinus roxburghi, Pinus valicinia, Pinus pinaster, Pinus lambertiana, etc. is used for making furniture. Juniperus virginiana wood is used for making pencils. The pencils you are using comes from the wood of Juniperus virginiana. The gymnosperm Agathis australis is perhaps the largest timber producing tree of the world. Soft wood of many gymnosperms is used for making toys. The Cedrus deodara wood is very much important and this Cedrus deodara is seen in Himalayan regions in India and it is called as Devadaru, and this is the resins produced by this gymnosperms. Several conifers yield resin which is obtained by tapping. By distilling, the oleoresin is obtained from pines. So this oleoresin, as we have seen in the anatomy, we have seen the resin canal through which the resins are produced, and this resins can be distilled and obtained from pines. And coming to other economic importance, essential oils. They are obtained from several plants. These oils are used mainly in perfumery, soap industry, etc. The important oil yielding plants are Tsuga canadensis, Pyxia glauca, Abies syberica, and Cedrus deodara. The oil obtained from Juniperus virginiana, the cedar wood oil, is also used in microscopic work. For magnification, we use this cedar wood oil. Paper industry. The wood of several gymnosperms, particularly those of conifers, is used in paper industry. Example is Abies pindro, Pyxia smithiana, Cryptomeria japonica, Pinus roxburghi, and Tsuga canadensis. Seeds of Pinus gerardiana. This is the seeds of Pinus gerardiana, which is also called as chilgosa, and Pinus roxburghi are edible. Sago is obtained from Cycas revoluta. The seeds of Cycas species are ground and used in the preparation of many edible products. Coming to the medicinal use, species of ephedra yield an alkaloid called ephedrine. It is used in the preparation of medicines for the treatment of cough, asthma and bronchitis, and it is also a medicine for relaxation. With this, we come to the end of the video, and this is all about gymnosperms. Angiosperms is included in the deleted portions. So we will move on to the NCERT solutions. Before that, we will see what is the alternation of generation in the next video. Please go through the video again and again. Thank you, children.